You know, I thought to myself, this MrTLexify stuff is pretty cringe. Yeah. I'm pretty late to this drama, and I understand it's pretty much dead, but I spent the last few days going over it on stream that you can click in the playlist below for my full thoughts, but I figured I'd capstone it off with the video, basically giving my overall takeaway on this. You know, I really hate the fact that the idea of a long response video to certain dramas is an instant win for some things. I understand there's a few things that are really great for apologies or response videos to drama. I've even helped with some of them and given people optics checks before. It's just something that comes with the job of being like a drama tuber, and I really respect those people that were, you know, brave enough to give me their videos in advance to look them over and tell them whether or not they're in a bad position or not. But man, oh man, is some of this really ridiculous. I do think that it's very responsible for people to take responsibility for the things that they did wrong, but then also correct the record on things that are falsified information about themselves. But that requires you to be, you know, adult about it and actually, you know, take responsibility for the things you did do. I'm honestly not surprised that MrTLexify's community went this way, and that they've basically been totally okay with it. His career was never in any danger because, well, he made zombies content. The kind of content where you can kind of be not a great person, and I'm pretty sure your young audience just isn't really going to care about it. For some other people, it might be a death knell in his career, but for him, no, not really. So let me give you the little TLDR, but I understand that preamble kind of seems a little really fast, so yeah. Okay, so this guy, Lex, as I'll call him, has a GF or XGF going by the name of Ren. Now, Ren is one of those like BPD Latina e-girls who you expect to make these kind of long Google Docs. It ended up being like 140 pages worth of Google documentation on how Lex is actually this horrible serial cheater, domestic abuser, and a various other assortment of things. A lot of her claims are pretty incredible, and not in a good way. For example, one of the claims is that Lex is a pedophile. The age gap is like 2.5 years, so it's really hard to muster up the care. Basically, if you're a Twitter minor, which you shouldn't be on Twitter if you're a minor, not a hot take at all, but, you know, just don't be on there. But if you're like one of those people on Twitter, you are going to be like super offended and you're going to think, oh my God, this guy might be a pedophile. And basically, yeah, it was a little bit of an age gap relationship. Enough for you to go, I don't know, bruh, but not enough for you to be like, don't let that guy near a school. So it's one of those situations where the age gap really doesn't matter in the conversation, but it's constantly brought up. Anyway, the pedo thing was already not going to get off the ground, and the domestic abuser stuff was kind of a mixed bag. Basically, he described it as mutual in his video, and I can understand that some people might say that that wasn't the case, but that's what it kind of looked like to me. There are also other things in the Google document that he just didn't address. For example, he constantly talked about how he was being extorted for money, while also very, very clearly having some weird pay pig humiliation kink. Which, like, you know, is fine or whatever, dude, but, like, come on, are we really not gonna address that? The dude had a bunch of receipts in this Google document of him giving money to OnlyFans chicks, upwards of $50 a month for some of these women. And he never addresses it in his video, which I think is really funny and also pretty obvious. But he was talking about how much money he would spend on his GF or XGF over the internet because, well, he was afraid that she would go and try and ruin his career and extort him and all this other crazy nonsense. So his answer to that was to keep giving her money. And in some respects, I understand it and I get the fears associated, and so you're willing to pay the extortion. But then also in the same breath, I'm just thinking, man, this guy was spending a lot on OnlyFans at the same time that he was being extorted. Maybe it wasn't all extortion. Maybe he just likes to give pretty girls money. I mean, you know, that's possible. There's lots of guys like that these days. And, well, I mean, you know, honestly, I don't know Lex from a hole in the wall, but he's very limp-wristed and weak-spined. Part of me saying that he has such a weak spine revolves around the end of his expose video. Now, one, he could have gone through his entire video not saying that his girlfriend was a pedophile and throwing the pedophile allegations back at his ex-girlfriend. Now, whether or not she is a pedophile remains to be seen. I'm not even going to address that. Feel free to think whatever you think about the two people involved in this situation. But where it gets even funnier is that this guy starts throwing shade at other zombies YouTubers who didn't or did not like come to his defense or might have actually spoken out about it. For example, Noah J45 comes up in this, and you learn about his cheating scandal via Lex for no reason. Which, by the way, Lex's reasoning in this was really funny. He said that Noah cheated on his wife for fun, which begs the question: what is another reason to cheat on your wife for? Do you cheat on your wife for like the plot or like the emotional support? Like what's the difference between cheating on your wife for fun and cheating on your wife for a very specific reason? Is there another reason aside from fun? I don't know. You tell me in the comments. There was also another guy who seemed to be busy with his life and didn't take the time to do Lex's letter of recommendation regarding his visa so he could come to the United States. The guy sends him this very serious, very normal message being like, listen, man, I got a partner and we just put like a mortgage down on a house. Like, I'm really busy right now. Like, dude, like, you're my friend, but I can't be that person for you right now to be doing things for you right now because I got things going on in my life. To which is like, apparently it was an issue for him. Now, whether or not the visa recommendation letter was just a letter of recommendation or it would expand into like an interview and various other things remains to be seen. I'm not going to even claim to be an expert in the visa process. However, I would also argue that most of the Americans watching this video probably aren't either, and probably have very little interaction with the United States visa and immigration system. So I would argue that, hey, maybe the guy has a valid reason for not doing this for his friend at the time. Maybe it's almost like he has, I don't know, a life going on and he can't drop everything for his dumb friend. Who am I to victim blame? I do very much want male victims to be respected, and maybe that is the case with Lex, right? Maybe I'm totally wrong for that. I'm totally willing to admit that. But man, oh man, does he do such a bad job of representing himself as an upstanding guy. I mean, his inability to address certain things that I personally want addressed definitely leave a sour taste in my mouth. But then also, in the same breath, it's hard not to hate his ex. I mean, she was clearly vindictive and mean and rude and everything you wouldn't want in a partner. I also find it very funny that she was on her stream and he included a clip of this in his video saying that she would be a dominatrix findom. And, you know, again, I'm not like Johnny sex expert, but like, holy shit. You know, maybe being a dominatrix is more than just being like a rude bitch and then asking some poor sap for money. Maybe there's a little more to it than just being an asshole. I don't know. That's just me and my hot takes. I don't really have that much interaction with dominatrixes. Ultimately, Lex really had this win in the bag. He's in one of those communities on YouTube that just straight up doesn't really care about these things. Like, for example, he included a TikTok from a guy who's a unprofessional in the mental health game. It's like a 3-minute clip of this TikToker explaining what a covert narcissist is. And it is absolutely one of the most pathetic clips to include in this kind of video, right? It goes on and on and on and on. And then you go and you check out the TikToker's website that he included in this video, vicariously of including the TikTok. He didn't directly link to it, but it didn't take that long to go find it, right? And you go to this guy's thing and he's like, I'm not a professional. And then also, buy my course. It's like $15, it's $30. This guy had a whole fucking like $1,000 package that you could use, and he's like a complete unprofessional. It's just total brain rot, sociology garbage bullshit that Lex included in this video for no fucking reason. It's like, bro, you couldn't explain what a narcissist is yourself? You needed a TikToker to come in and do it for you? How bad is your attention span that this is what you're doing? You downloaded this TikTok and what? You thought you were a fucking genius? Are you kidding me? Is this where we're at? It's not even YouTubers giving their own opinions. It's YouTubers going to TikTokers to give their opinions. Yeah, I get it. A lot of people might have thought that, oh man, Lex had a great video. I'm totally supporting Lex still. But, I didn't know the guy before. And I definitely don't want to know him after. He seems really pathetic and really shallow and very much the kind of guy who's like, what do you mean we were friends? I scratched your back, so you need to scratch mine now in this moment. You know, it's got to be reciprocal. It's got to be immediately reciprocal. It's like, I did a favor for you. You're going to do a favor for me? You know, it's not a friend. That's a guy who's like role-playing as a mobster. But hey, man, most people can't be canceled unless they cancel themselves. It's something I've said for a long time and I'll continue to say. And I'm not surprised. You know, we live in a day and age where you could be as bad as Dr. Disrespect, and I'm not comparing Lex directly to Dr. Disrespect, but what I mean is, if it's not something that's really based around your brand, you could probably get away with being as bad as you want. I mean, the only thing that's gonna stop your career is yourself. And hey man, if you cancel yourself, maybe that's just like you recognizing you did something wrong. Or if you're actually convinced that you didn't do anything wrong, well then, you know, I guess the truth will set you free. Anyway, I don't really think Lex is a good person. I don't think his girlfriend Ren was a good person. I don't think anybody involved in this is like a great person. And I think a lot of these zombie YouTubers are just, you know, people with their own faults and foibles. But hey man, whatever. Who am I? Lex has found God. Which is why he went and he shared a video about this guy called Rodriguez Pickens who saw Jesus Christ in a dream. It was yeah. So anyway, he shared a video to like what I can only assume is like some new age Jesus cult. That was weird. Anyway, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell.